reason that we're here today is because this defendant, Donna Adelson, was part of a conspiracy to hire a hitman to kill her former son-in-law, Dan Markel. Back in 2014, this defendant's family had a big problem. And the big problem was Dan Markel. And the solution to that problem was the defendant's son, Charlie Adelson. Charlie Adelson was the solution because he had a girlfriend with connections to the type of people who were willing and capable of pointing a gun at a complete stranger and pulling the trigger. The victim in this case, Dan Markel, was known as Danny to his friends and family. He was a loving father to 2 little boys. On July 18th of 2014, Dan Markel was shot in the head in broad daylight in the driveway of his home. The last day of his life began like any other day of his that summer. After finishing his workout, he returned home. He pulled into his driveway and he opened his garage. But little did he know that throughout his entire routine that morning, he was being followed by 2 hired hitmen. And like something out of a horror movie, when he pulled into his driveway, the killers pulled in right behind him. Moments later, Dan Markel's neighbor heard a gunshot. Law enforcement arrived to find Dan Markel with a gunshot wound to the head. He was taken to the hospital where he survived for about 14 hours before he was pronounced dead. Charlie Adelson was convicted in November of 2023. And within hours of his guilty verdict, this defendant began to plan to flee the United States in order to avoid being arrested for Dan Markel's murder. She was stopped by law enforcement on the jetway where she was boarding her one-way flight to Vietnam. She took the life of a loving father of 2 little boys and caused a lifetime of grief. The evidence in this case, you will be convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that this defendant is guilty.
Without any evidence, only motive and theory, they put her at the top of this pyramid. She's the matriarch. She's the matriarch mastermind behind Danny being killed, and they don't have evidence of that. Think about what each thing it is that the state has alleged. She planned it. She got people to do it. She intended that he die. That this woman wanted to take away the father of her grandchildren for the rest of their life because of relocation that happened a year ago and was done and over. And at the end of the case, because there's not going to be evidence that she did this, keep an open mind. Listen to all of it. We're going to ask you to find her not guilty of every single count. It was your testimony that the first trip you came up on, you scoped out Mr. Markel's house, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You're trying to follow him to the school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you got lost. He lost you.
Yes, ma'am.
And the second time that you came up, you knew he was going to be taking the children to school, and so you followed him to the school, correct?
The daycare, yes.
Yes. And then you knew he was going to be going to the gym, right?
I didn't know he was going to the gym. I just followed him.
You followed him to the gym?
No.
Okay. And then you followed him to his house.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's where he was killed.
Yes, ma'am.
And the woman who wanted him to be killed was Wendy Adelson, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It was she wanting her children, correct?
Absolutely.